Okay, so in this video, I only have two questions, but these two questions will probably be more lengthy than the others. So, I had someone who was watching a previous video, and I stated that I had a few close friends in South Korea, and that these friends helped me through some negative or bad times that I was going through. And they wanted to know what I was referring to. Well, I won't tell it all. Some of it was things happening in my own personal life, but there were some issues that I had at the beginning with the way that the school did some things, more so on the business side. How it was just certain things that didn't make sense, or that I may put a lot of work into something and then they're like, oh, that's not important. Communication and just sometimes it didn't seem like priorities were straight, or that the method of teaching was really being productive. So it was those type of things. And she also asked if if my perception of those things ever changed. Yes and no. There were some things with the school, after sitting down and having the opportunity to speak with my co-teachers, we figured some things out. Some things they agreed with me on, some things they didn't understand or didn't agree, and we agreed to disagree. But a lot of things, we were able to sit down, they were actually able to see my side of things, and we were able to make changes, and yes, my perception changed. There's still some things that my perception haven't changed on, especially when it comes to students learning English in Korea. I think they have a long ways to go. When it comes to their process, their methods, what's important and what's not important, I think they have a ways to go, and I believe they're trying to get there. But yeah, it was nothing really truly serious. It's one of those things, once you get there, it's pretty it's pretty much a general thing at the schools. You may feel that this is really important, and they're like, no. Or you may, especially if you're at a big school, you'll hear very often, oh, I'm too busy to deal with this. And then they'll come to you a few days later needing something, and you're like, hey, I tried to handle this a long time ago. They can be very last minute, so if they want something done or they want you to attend something, you may find out about it a few hours before. That's not anything abnormal. That's very normal. So it was things like that, but definitely things I was able to get over. And it was awesome to have people who were in Korea who understood, because sometimes your family and your friends who are still in the States or wherever you're from are like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. They kind of brush it off. They don't understand, one, the decision that you made to move over to another country, but they also don't understand how different things can be. They act like, just suck it up, no big deal. My family did that sometimes. But to have friends there who completely understand what you're going through, sometimes all you need to do is vent, and you can get over it. You just accept that, hey, this is how they do things. And so yeah, hopefully I answered your question. If I didn't, just write me back and I'll try harder. The second question: is there anything that I regret not doing while in Korea? That's a good question. I thought about it, and one thing I must admit, I regret not learning the language. There were so many days where I was so tired afterwards that I was just like, the last thing I wanted to do was learn the language. But I believe if I would have learned the language, started learning before I got to Korea, and actually made it a priority to continue learning while I was there, I believe that I would have been just way less dependent on Korean people, my co-teachers or friends. I believe it probably would have enhanced my experience a bit, and there are a lot of things that would have worked out better if I had known the language if I could read the language, that type of thing. So I do regret not learning that. Also, I would say I regret not traveling more. I didn't travel outside of Korea like I wanted to. I had the opportunity and was in the perfect place to go to Japan and China and surrounding areas, and I didn't take that opportunity. And one thing I would say with that, when you go really, now I know everybody's going for different reasons, but my opinion is manage your money. You can do with your money however you want, but manage it. At least put a little to the side, so if you want to up and do something, you can up and do it. I didn't do that. So I would say manage your money so that if that's something you want to do, you can travel. If you have any time, go to Thailand, go to Japan, go to China, go travel everywhere you can possibly travel. And I think that actually makes your time in Korea more exciting, more fun. It helps you to de-stress if you've had a tough week or a tough couple months. So definitely something I regret. Also, I do regret not attending church services. I think that would have been just a great thing for me, especially there was a particular time where I was going through some personal issues and having a hard time at work. And I think that if I would have made a harder effort to go to a church service, that's like a support system for you, and it's an uplifter. And I think that's something that I needed. And if I did it all over again, I would definitely just travel the 2 hours and go to church. And the last thing that I would regret, mid-year, I started making some changes in my life, positive changes, and I started getting rid of bad habits, and I was doing awesome. Like I lost 15 pounds, and my goal was 30, so I had lost 15 pounds. I was saving money. My relationship with God had gotten closer, and I went home for like 10 days and came back and just got lazy and let go of the good habits that were starting to be put in place. And I regret it to this day, which is why I'm making such a big deal about starting over. I'm not going to focus on it anymore. I'm going to start over and strive for lasting change, because I felt better than I had ever felt in my life. I felt wiser. There was a lot of clarity. I felt like I had direction, and everything in my life was just extremely positive, and I had so much energy. It was just great. So I regret not holding on to the change, getting lazy. I regret getting lazy. But other than that, I don't regret anything. I still think it was an awesome experience, and one that has definitely set a foundation for whatever's to come next. And I know that wherever I go next, I'll learn the language before I go, and I will, make the most of every single opportunity that I have. I will find a church home somewhere, or at least a couple people that's Christians, and we can just have a Bible study in the, in somebody's apartment. I don't care, But this first year, it was a learning experience. So even though I regret those things, I don't dwell on it. I charge it to the game. Hey, I made these mistakes, but next time I'm prepared on what I need to do, what kind of things caused me to mess up last time. Okay, let's not do those. Let's avoid those. How do we avoid those? So I think this just prepared me for some very awesome things that are to come. So hopefully I answered your question. Thank you so much for subscribing. That's all the questions that I have right now. If you have any more questions, do not hesitate to message me or leave a comment or whatever. And whatever your question's about, if it's not about South Korea, ask me anyway, and I'll try to answer it for you. And I'm going to work on my next videos about my experience. Y'all have a good night. Bye.